Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
Okay, so I'll just write down some of the numbers here. I got 2018, 2019, and 2020 audit reports. Start with 2018.
Rarely will you get audited reports. Rarely. I mean, sometimes you'll get pieces of paper in a shoebox. That's an exaggeration, but rarely we get audited. Go ahead.
Well, what happens then if we have non-audit report stuff? Then,
well, I mean, they'll give you something that is like QuickBooks, or there's several different kinds of QuickBooks. But remember, QuickBooks is whatever the numbers you put in doesn't mean anything because the seller's putting in the numbers. And so when you're doing your own due diligence, as I said, when you're in the regular seminar, you will want to see, does the QuickBook number, year-end numbers match tax returns? Are they within 5 or 10% of tax returns? Most people, other than in Asia, most people won't cheat on their tax returns, okay? So if they're within 5 or 10%, I like 5%, but you can go as much as 10%. The same number, if the net income is within that range, then for the preliminary due diligence, you can accept them, okay? But when you get down to making an offer and doing the quality of earnings through your accountants, you will want even though quality of earnings is not an audit, it is closer to an audit because they're going to tell you what are the probabilities of those numbers being the same going forward in year 1, 2, and 3. In no case do you take performer numbers. No case. Okay. So you will ask them.
Yeah.
But you will have already seen, and somebody's going to ask you, your tax returns, are they within 10% of the numbers you're going to show right now, audited?
Within 10% of...
In other words, the net income that you have in your audited numbers,
right?
Is that the same or close to what your tax returns say?
Yes, identical.
Okay, well, fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's highly unusual.
Okay, because, yeah. Okay. So if I get like a shoebox or QuickBooks, as you're saying, which part of my board do I need to lean on to help me?
Your in-house accountant?
Yeah.
Your CFO?
These two guys. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
But everybody should have transaction experience. Okay?
Okay.
Like I can, somebody, when did this happen? John. When John, before he left, and he and I, because we've done 4 deals, but we looked at 40. And roughly speaking, that's about a good ratio. Because normally when you look at 40, you only do 2. But we looked at 40 and we've done 4, okay? 2 nice sized deals, 1 almost nice sized deal, and 1 just, we did, like I say, to keep the team from eating out of the gutters. So, but we've done 4 deals. And normally the tax returns don't match your QuickBook numbers, but in the first 2 cases, they came within 10%, and they wound up being within 10%. But don't be surprised. And as soon as you ask for an audit, they'll complain about it's too expensive. Okay. But the real reason they don't want you to audit is because the numbers aren't going to be anything near what they call income, a receivable, or whatever is not necessarily, or a true company expense is not necessarily a true company expense. The add backs or the takeaways, they're living off the company, etc., are the biggest thing, and they want you to pay for that.
Okay. So a few things to just keep in mind is, so it's companies registered in Hong Kong. Hong Kong's tax rate is 16.5%. Another thing is their fiscal year is March to March. Yeah. Okay. All right. So revenue on 2018 is 8 million. This is Hong Kong dollars. Yeah. 8,093,142. Cost of revenue is 1.284. $1.284474. Okay. And then I have distribution costs, administrative, operating expense, and then income tax. So what would be the things we need to look at? I'll just put tax in.
I mean,
here.
what is the thing that they're going to look at when they're trying to buy you?
Yeah, so they would be looking at the EBITDA. Right?
Yeah, well, EBITDA is, income after taxes, depreciation, amortization.
Okay. Amortization is what I owe?
No, amortization is, well, if you have no equipment,
Okay.
Equipment is amortized over 1, 3, 5, 15, 20 years.
Is that the same as depreciation?
Yeah, well, no, depreciation and amortization is two separate things.
Okay.
So you'll know your depreciation, and you'll know your amortization. But I mean, if you're just a paper business, and are you just a paper business?
What's a paper?
In other words, are they getting anything when they buy?
No. Paper business, basically.
Okay, or electronically transferred information.
Correct.
Okay. Those are the ones that, because there is nothing to depreciate and there's nothing to amortize, that's where they come up with these figments of their imagination. So there's no numbers to write off over 3, 5, or 10 years. So if you want to take a conservative view, you go historically to other companies like this that have sold. Now, I don't know what other companies like this have sold. Not for the valuation of the company, but how they handle depreciation and amortization.
Okay. I think my auditor, he's counted just like laptops and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, well, that's not unless you have millions of laptops. I don't think you're talking about.
Okay.
There's no money. That's no figure.
Okay. So I'll write down the tax then. Income tax expense is 443. 246. Okay.
And in Dubai, there's no personal income tax.
No.
Okay.
None. And they're introducing corporate tax this coming year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at 7%, 6-7%. But it's been 0 until now. Okay. If you guys want to have a look as well here. So now one key piece to note is the cost of salaries.
EJ, can't you put this on the big screen? Yeah, he can put that on the big screen so you can look at it, not over a laptop.
Okay. So let me see what else he has on this thing.
No, can you just for a second?
Sure.
Because I think if we're trying to figure out what the EBITDA is or the EBIT, we have very good numbers here already.
Tax.
Because then we go for the profit of the year and then
plus tax.
Before tax. So we have
before tax. EBITDA is earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. So it's before tax.
You have the profit before tax
so that's
already
the number
over here.
Yeah.
So now what we're looking for is, does the company, if at all, have any depreciation or appreciation? As we figured out, maybe that number is relatively low because you don't have a lot of materials or a lot of.
So would that be then the EBITDA then 2.8 million?
Approximately.
Yeah.
Let's see what other numbers are following. Maybe we can get a little bit more detailed.
Assets, property, 44,000. I assume that is computers.
Property, plant, and equipment, 44,000. So you have a very low number of depreciation.
So that's like laptops, cameras. And the thing for my studio.
Yeah, that's pretty standard.
You have
So that doesn't go under depreciation and stuff, right? Because
it does, but it's like so small it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you have some Equity.
These are the total shares, and I own all the shares.
Sure.
So.
No other liabilities. No bank loans, no financing in any other way.
So
because that would be also...
Yeah. So there's one thing to keep in mind here. This one. No. So in Hong Kong, when you take out salaries, because it's taxed at 16.5% in income tax, what my accountant does is he offers it from a company as a loan to the director. And that's like tax-free. Mm-hmm. Right, or a very, very nominal tax on it. Mm-hmm. So that one starts to accumulate.
To save the 16.5%.
Correct. So there's no personal income tax. So that's how the accountant
at what point in time?
There's no
time does it go?
There's no repayment time, and it's at 0% interest. So.
And there's no time frame, 2 years, 3 years.
No time frame.
Dan, what is your opinion on that?
When you die, somebody's gonna have to pay tax.
I think even if I sell the company, then I become liable to pay that.
Right, but if you die, I mean, somebody's gonna have to pay tax. How much is the inheritance tax?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
and I don't think I have anyone on the inheritance either.
When you die, I mean, do you have a wife, a father, a mother, a sister?
But they're in the States, and
the idea is that you get. The presumption is you're going to get lost in the system.
Okay.
But it doesn't make the liability go away. You may get lost in the system. I go out of my way to pay taxes. They lost me in the 80s and early 90s, they know, but I went to the Inland Revenue, and I still get checks from the government. I get a pension check every month from the money that they took away for 50 years. And then when the PPP money came out, they sent me money, and I told them not to send me money, but they still fucking send me money. Okay, I didn't cash the checks. But if you stay lost in the system, and that's why a better place to go other than Hong Kong is Singapore. Okay, where I think inheritance tax is zero. It's officially zero. Not that you get lost in the system. But your accountant is going on historical data, which he's right. Or they're right, that you'll get lost in the system. And that's why Hong Kong flourished after World War II.
How long could we push it like that and keep not paying out any salaries and instead?
Well, I mean, when it gets into the hundreds of millions, somebody, it's like the Chinese, they have 3 levels of where they search for you. If you're under 10 million in revenue, nobody bothers you. This is in China, okay, and Hong Kong follows that. If you have 100 million or over, I mean, they chase you. In fact, the accountants are breaking the law if they don't rat you out.
How about Austria?
Austria, you can't do this.
Is there any way to secure the liability?
What do you mean by that?
Well, basically, for the period until you pay the money back, what happens in that time?
There's no security on that.
There's nothing, and we can set the terms, but it's set at 0 and unlimited period. As long as I own the company, it's okay.
Yeah, but normally when they have a transfer ownership or a majority transfer of ownership, 51%, it triggers all taxes are retroactive back to day one. So if somebody buys this company, either you pay the tax, okay, or they pay the tax.
So if I pay the company back, then it becomes the company's income again?
No, because it's there would. What kind of company you set up?
Limited.
Limited liability.
Yeah.
Okay. The company will have the debt, the loan paid off. Okay. It didn't receive any income, so there's no income tax on that. The fact that you made the loan, or I should say, it's a self-dealing. In other words, he loaned to himself to avoid taxes. Okay. So depending on the penalties, and I doubt if there are any penalties in Hong Kong, but you'd have to check to make sure. The company would know, just have the debt paid, and it would go back to revenue, of which they had to pay taxes on.
Okay. So is it wise for me to just get that cleared out?
Well, I mean, how big is the number now?
The number is probably close to $1 million US now.
Okay.
over the year?
Well, I mean, a seller that has advisors, proper advisors, is going to reduce the purchase price by at least that.
Okay. All right. So that's just the looming expense that's going to be there.
For calculating the debt coverage ratio, we use free cash flow. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So